In a world full of heroes, one man decided most of them weren't worth saving. And the uncomfortable part? By the end of his story, you start to agree with him. Stain didn't hate heroes. He hated what they became. In this video, we're breaking down why his ideology makes sense and what it exposes about the entire hero system. Like and subscribe, then let's get started. To understand Stain, you have to understand the world he lived in. My Hero Academia takes place in a society where 80% of the population has a quirk, a superpower. And with that came the rise of professional heroes. Licensed, ranked, televised, branded. Being a hero became a career, a business, a lifestyle brand. Mount Lady debuts by smashing through a building, but make sure the cameras are rolling first. Endeavor spends decades chasing rankings instead of raising his own son. Heroes charge for interviews. They have merchandise lines. They negotiate contracts. And Stain watched all of it. He watched an ideal, the idea of a selfless protector, get turned into a product. So he did something about it. Not with protest signs, not with speeches, with blades. Here's Stain's core belief, stated plainly. A hero who acts for anything other than the good of others is not a hero. They are a fraud, and frauds do not deserve the title. That's it. That's the whole thesis. And look, you might push back immediately. He's a murderer. Absolutely. We're getting there. But hold that for a second, because first we have to reckon with the part of you that already halfway agrees with him. When heroes refuse to act without a contract. When they walk past someone in danger because it's not in their jurisdiction. When they treat saving lives as a PR opportunity. Stain's voice gets louder. Look at what he says to Ida.
Plan on using your quirk only for yourself. Shouldn't you be worried about saving that guy? You're completely blinded by a selfish desire for revenge. You're about as far away from being a hero as I can imagine.
He doesn't hate Ida for being weak. He hates him because Ida came to fight out of revenge, not to save anyone. He came for himself. And Stain calls that out with more moral clarity than most of the actual heroes in this show. That's what makes him dangerous, not his blood-curdled quirk. It's that he's right about the diagnosis, even if the cure is completely wrong. Stain had one exception to his crusade, All Might. And it's worth understanding why, because it tells us everything about what Stain actually values. All Might doesn't work for the money. He gave everything without expectation. He runs toward disaster when everyone else freezes. He smiles not to look good on camera, but because he genuinely believes people need hope, not just rescue. Stain didn't revere All Might for his power. He revered him because All Might reminded people that being a hero is a calling, not a career. There's grief in Stain's eyes, because the one real thing in a world full of imposters is fading, and nobody seems to care as much as he does. That's almost tragic. A killer who mourns the loss of genuine heroism more deeply than the heroes themselves. But here's where we have to be honest. Stain's philosophy collapses under its own weight. His standard is impossible. Absolutely pure motivation. No self-interest whatsoever, at all times. That's not a bar for heroism. That's a bar for sainthood. Even Midoriya, the purest-hearted protagonist in shonen anime, has moments of pride, of fear, of wanting recognition. By Stain's logic, Deku would probably be on the list. And the method? Killing doesn't purify anything. Every hero Stain murdered was a person who had chosen, at some point, to put on a suit and help someone. However flawed, however commercialized, they still showed up. Stain doesn't reform the system. He traumatizes it. He makes heroes afraid to act outside rigid parameters. He creates a climate of fear, not a renaissance of virtue. And perhaps most damning, his actions gave the League of Villains their recruitment pitch. Dabi, Toga, Spinner, characters who took Stain's ideology and used it to justify chaos, destruction, and personal vendetta. Stain planted a seed of righteous anger. Shigaraki harvested it into something far uglier. My Hero Academia isn't asking you to root for Stain, but it is asking you to sit with his discomfort. Because the hero system failing, that's not a background detail. That's the whole second half of the series. When All Might retires, crime surges. Heroes burn out. The public loses faith. Society unravels. Stain predicted every single bit of it. He was right that the system was rotten. He was wrong that murder was the answer. And he was tragically unable to see that you can't build something good on top of something violent. The real hero response to Stain's critique isn't to defeat him in battle. It's to prove him wrong by becoming the kind of hero he always wanted to exist. That's what Deku is trying to do. That's what the whole series is about. The villain isn't always wrong. Sometimes the villain sees something real, something everyone else is too comfortable or too afraid to say out loud. Stain saw a world full of people wearing heroism like a costume, and he burned himself up trying to strip it off them. The question My Hero Academia leaves you with is this: now that you've seen the rot, what do you do with that? Do you become the violence, or do you become the answer? That's not Stain's story to finish. That's Deku's. Maybe it's yours too. I write a newsletter where I go even deeper on stuff like this. Real psychology concepts, anime breakdowns, and things that didn't make the cut for the video. Link is in the description. It's free. Check it out. If you like this breakdown, the next video goes even deeper. Subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll see you there.